Training on an indoor range is probably one of the easiest ways for people to actually get out and shoot guns, you know? And Bob, you work here at an indoor range, and we know that if people want to go train, it's probably going to be at an indoor range, which is the easiest. It's year round. A lot of gun stores have them. Getting to an outdoor range is a little bit tougher. But one thing that we know is training on an indoor range is a lot different than training on an outdoor range. We have rules. We have all this stuff. And I think the biggest thing for people is when they go to the indoor range, they say, what now? Or what do I do, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the good things for people is for understanding if they're going to come, they're going to show up for the first time, or they've been here before, they just want to get better, is that we show them what the process is when they show up to a range, start to finish, checking in, shooting, leaving, all that stuff, and then also showing them some drills. So Bob, you're one of the big instructors here. You've been around for a long time. You've done a lot of stuff and seen a lot of things here at Roll Range. Can you talk us through the process of showing up to the range?
Yeah, certainly. So when people come in to visit us, obviously we're always glad that happens. Glad people are, voicing their Second Amendment, coming here and practicing for themselves.
Yeah.
So they'll come in the front door, meet some of our retail staff, check in there, and we'll generally ask them some questions like most ranges do. Hey, what's your experience level? Do you need a coach with you? Can you do it on your own? They're like, mostly we get, I've been shooting for a minute or two, and I'm good. So we kind of check that on the card, let them know that they shouldn't need a lot of instruction, but they're normal shooters. They'll either buy ammo, rent a gun for us, or from us, or they'll bring their own. Got their own ammo, got their own pistol. And like you and I talked about before, one of our requirements here that a lot of ranges have out there is we don't like you bringing hand-loaded ammo because a lot of times people bring in hand-loaded ammo, they don't do it quite right, and bad things happen. Get a squib load, bounce backs, just God knows.
And even worse than that too.
Yeah,
sure. It's an injury thing. It's a safety thing.
Correct. It's a very important safety thing. And here we just try to. It's on our door to say, hey man, you got to run factory loaded ammo. So we have it here for sale, obviously. So they'll check in with the retail staff. They'll give them a card at our range, like most ranges do. And here we have at least 2 range officers in a running range. So we supply a lot of range officers. I've been to ranges in the country where there were no range officers, just cameras watching you. So you may see both of those. It just depends on where you go, what range you go to. So they'll grab their gear, bullets if they need it, come into the range itself, as like our booth here. In most ranges across the country, the booths are ballistic, meaning this glass part is, the black part is not. So we're standing here next door neighbors, so that's a good thing because you and I have been in ranges across the country and everybody's not as safe as they should be.
Right.
So that's a plus that these are ballistic. Hopefully you never need it. So
yeah.
They'll
good
walk
to have,
up here.
Never want to use it.
Correct. Yeah. They'll walk up here and set their bag down on the counter, get their pistol out, their ammo out, set it on the table, and then generally we ask them to put their bag either under the table itself, or if they're over here in the rifle range, they got a big rifle bag, they're like, dude, I keep tripping over it, so can I set it back here? We're like, yeah, that's cool. You can set your bag back there. So really all I want on the table is the pistol I got, the mags, and the ammo, and obviously my ears and stuff. They'll generally go over and pick a target from the target booth over there and pick what they want to shoot, whether it's marksmanship, self-defense, or just about anything they pick target-wise, some funnies and some serious targets. Come back over here, load their pistol up, check it, make sure it's in the condition you want it when you pull it out of the bag. As you and I talked about, every now and then we see people come in here, because I every now and then have to step in here and be a range officer because of people sick and this and that. Yeah. And they'll flip their case open and the friggin' pistol will be pointed toward their stomach because they didn't know how to orient the box. So one of the things we talked about is putting an identifying mark on your case. So every time you put it in there, the muzzle's pointed in that direction. So you set it up on the table, hey man, it's in the right direction. So they load the pistol up, pick a target, get to firing whatever they're going to work on, like you and I will discuss here later about what drill should I shoot on an indoor range. One of the things that we get to do that a lot of ranges do not, so you have to check with the place you go, is here we get to let people draw from the holster and shoot, which a lot of indoor ranges do not.
That is not very common.
No, it's not.
And it's probably for good reason.
Yeah.
Right, like there's some ranges you go to, we've all been there, every range is a little bit different, right? Yeah. And you never know who's going to show up, but a lot of it's kind of lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? Like you have to put the rules in place and certain things for liability. And I know at some of the ranges you can't draw, right? You can't shoot more than 1 round per second.
Correct.
And nothing more than a double tap or this or that, lots of different stuff. I think this is one thing that's unique about Roll Ranges. You let people do that, but there's an if, isn't there?
Correct. So you either have to take in a class from us, somebody like you, or somebody with a good reputation who teaches people how to draw from the holster. And the thing we do currently is only let you draw from dominant side, outside the pants, no concealment.
Okay.
So we're not running appendix carry yet, because that's even scarier to certain individuals. So, but it is, you know, if we're going to teach people how to do all these drills in our advanced classes, then how can I practice them if I can't draw from the holster in here? So that's why we let them do that. And like we said, we have to check them out, make sure you can do it. So we make them do it in front of one of the trainers, and make sure when they reholster the pistol that everything is as is and should be. So if they do, we give them a card. So when you come to the range and you're able to draw, you'd show that card at the front retail center, and they go, oh, you get to draw from the holster. So they'll put that on their little sticker when they bring it in here.
Okay.
So the range staff knows, oh, this guy gets to draw from the holster, or this lady does. So it's a big benefit.
Fair enough. So I think with the appendix, what a lot of people don't understand is, because that's when we teach retention shooting in class, or concealed carry applications course, that's pretty much all appendix. And some guys run it outside, or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. And doing appendix carry, especially shooting from retention, when everybody's on the line and we're trying to get people to shoot up close on that target, pretty much with their forehead touching the target, you're right that it's scary, because when someone draws that gun, if they're not paying attention, they draw the gun and they tend to sweep up off to their side and then around. Or what's more likely is that when they go to holster, instead of coming muzzle towards the target straight back down and rotating into the holster, they come and they do this and they sweep it to the left, and they come and they do a big arcing motion. And then we're flagging the line, right?
Correct.
So I think that's one of the main reasons that people say, well, why can't you draw from concealment, especially appendix carry on a range? Well, ballistic glass is here, but we don't want to use it, right?
Correct.
And you just never know who's next to you, right? So making it safe for everybody. And honestly, that's something that if there's 1 or 2 people on the range, but if it's crowded range, I don't want anybody else doing that. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to beta myself. You know?
So as you know here, we got 3 ranges we use, long range rifle range and 2 pistol bays. So let's say that the big range we open up first is a rifle range, and other places around the country may be similar, that if we got a bunch of people in that range and you're the one who gets to draw, we normally hear the question, well, how does he get to draw and I don't? What's up with that? Well, he's done a lot of training. So we'll generally put you in the range by yourself. So you can stand here and draw and work your drills without a whole bunch of questions that we got to answer. Which is nice for you taking the time to go learn how to draw your pistol. Go to class and do that. So we were on the kind of the shooting and what we do at the range. So I put my target up. I did some shooting drills. I generally try to do a marksmanship drill when I leave, so I feel good about what I accomplished. Unload my pistol, check it twice, like we talked about. Once I got in condition I want it, which should be unloaded if I'm gonna put it in the bag, I put the mags in the bag. And like I said earlier, if I put my rifle bag over here because I'm in the rifle range and I didn't want it here, the thing to do is to get your rifle bag and bring it to the booth, not take your rifle to the bag, because then you're standing out here in the open.
Or pistol or anything.
Any
bag to gun, not gun to
firearm.
bag.
Correct. Because we see them walk out back here, and as you and I talked about, only people ought to be running a gun behind somebody on a team, right? Not us in here walking around with a pistol in our hand, because a lot of people don't keep it in the correct direction.
Which is fine to do, but this just isn't the place for it.
Correct. And all ranges are just like that. Bring the bag to the gun. So they check it, put it in the bag, clean up any mess they have. Some places want you to clean your own up. Here, we clean it for them. They can grab their stuff, police all their trash, take their target with them, and then leave the range and come back and see us at their next opportunity.
Fair enough. So kind of recap that process. Someone's showing up at the range, go to the front desk, they check in, make sure all your stuff's cleared out, stuff's in the bag, you've got a backpack or a gun bag or something like that. Check in at the range, check off, and then come immediately to your booth, grab your targets on the way in, set up your stuff, gun, ammo, targets, eyes, ear pros, magazines, stuff like that goes here. Just move your stuff out of the way, shoot your drills, and whenever you're done, then remember to bring the gun to the bag if it's back there. Don't be walking around outside the booth with your gun.
Correct.
Or down there. Put it all away, make sure it's cleared out, pack up, clean up, and head out.
So, one more thing just to kind of remind people of, as you look around our range, you notice bullet hits on the ceiling, on the floor, and on the wall. So that big black stuff down at the end is the berm where we'd rather the bullets go. So sometimes people just aren't thinking about, rule 4, what's beyond my target. So in that, meaning if I was a shorter individual and I hang the target high and I hold it close, and the bullets are gonna hit the ceiling. So it's kind of, when you walk in and think about what angle am I at, where's the pistol pointed for where the rule 4, where's the bullet going to impact, and everybody at every range would like them to impact the berm, not everywhere else.
And it seems like common sense, but really it is. But it's just something that people don't think about. It's not, a lot of people, especially newer shooters, they hear it a lot, they just haven't had time to really sink in. So all these little things, like you notice on the target, it says hang your target below the black line, stuff like this. Pay attention to the rules, not a big deal, but I think when people come shoot at the range, it's stressful for a lot of people, right?
Oh, heck
I mean,
yeah.
we've got gunshots going off right now. We're at an active range. There's a bay next door, so this is range 1. People are shooting on range 2, so you guys will probably hear it. But it's stressful for people. You know? And like they're so terrified and they're overcomplicating it that then I think they sometimes become a safety hazard, right? And they're doing it to themselves. It's a simple concept. Just do what you feel is right and use some common sense.
You know, another safety thing you and I discussed earlier was about what you have on. So you wear glasses to see, and there's a difference.
That was my next question. I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, sorry. Well, there's a difference in seeing glasses and shooting glasses. Like mine and your shooting glasses touch our eyebrows, and it's really hard to get brass behind there. It can happen, but it more happens with the glasses you have on, which are stuck off your face just a little bit, right? Like all of us that use glasses to see. Well, what you have on is what they should have on. Is a baseball cap, you guys, with the hood pointed forward, not backward. Doesn't really do you any good. So if a brass comes over and hits the booth and comes back and tries to jump behind your glasses, then that hat protects it. You know, as we discussed, I saw some people in here shooting the other day, had on low-cut shorts, low-cut shirt, and flip-flops. And generally our staff out front catches that and goes, hey, dude, you can't be wearing flip-flops in here.
Yeah, you're going to burn your toes.
Yeah, the brass gets between there. It's not pleasant. Like you said, when the brass landed once on you and your old job landed back here.
Oh, man, that was rough.
It's just awful.
So he's talking. So the brass coming behind the glasses, and I was wearing bigger glasses, you know, but I didn't have a hat on. 5.56 brass came out, went behind my glasses, and stuck and like burned onto my eyelid to the point where it's like just that little bit of peeling it off, you know. And there's that little line of that real light burn mark. That's enough to make your butthole pucker, right? Like that was plenty enough to be close to my eyes. I did not like it. I wish I would have had a hat on that day.
Yeah,
right? It's common sense. You know, I
Yeah.
never really thought about it. Oh, the hat will block the brass.
Yeah.
Right? So
the other safety thing we talked about, like when you shoot an indoor range, not so an outdoor range, you know, me and you're standing side by side on an outdoor range, and brass is just going to go where it goes.
Yeah.
It don't generally bounce back and hit you.
Yep.
So in here, a lot of times it'll hit that and go down your shirt.
Yeah.
And like I said, the last thing I want to see somebody doing a hot brass dance with a friggin' pistol in their hand.
Yeah.
So we try to remind them when they come in, hey man, if it gets on you here or here, suck it up and set the gun down, then get the brass off you. I mean, it's just common sense, but if you don't tell them, good Lord, what you tend to see.
Oh, we've all seen it.
And it's really not their fault. They just aren't educated on it. So this is our help in trying to educate anybody on that.
It happens.
Oh, yeah.
If it hasn't happened to you yet, it will, right? You will get burned by brass, and you have to remember just set the gun down or just holster real quick, keep the gun pointing in a safe direction, something like that.
Yeah.
So it only burns for a few seconds.
That's true. So, and it's a cool thing to talk about later.
Yeah, like if you get it pinned to your skin somehow or trapped, then it's going to hurt, but most likely it's just going to roll down.
5.56 laid right there, just forever on my
collarbone.
collarbone.
On my neck, everything, man. So that's good. So what about general range etiquette, right? So you have multiple shooters here. Say like there's multiple people here shooting. What's the general range etiquette that someone should think about? And you mentioned one thing earlier. If you're shooting with your buddy, if I'm on one lane, you're on the other, or whatever, you know, you said, what should you not do? And I think one of those was, we're not going to shoot on somebody else's booth. We're not going to take a gun around the booth, right?
Correct.
Once it comes out of this booth, what should they do?
Yeah, so if you and I are shooting and you go, hey man, or I say, hey man, I want to shoot that STI you got. I ain't got that cool gun.
Yep.
So let me borrow that for a minute. Well, what I shouldn't do and you shouldn't do is hand it around to each other.
Yes.
Because then there's that whole being behind people with a gun out, and you know, that's not what we should do in really an indoor-outdoor range, depending on what our mission is, right?
Right.
So if I'm gonna do that, either I'm gonna leave the pistol here and you walk around and shoot it. Does that make sense? That way the gun doesn't come out of the booth. Or if you want to shoot on your target and check the difference in your gun and my gun, I'll put it in a box, bring it around the corner to you and hand it to you like that.
Yeah.
So that's just keeping the gun just like it is when you brought it in. You know, can't walk in with one in your hand. That's just not appropriate. So it's got to be in a bag, box, holster or something. Same when it transfers positions. Should be done the same way. Yeah.
Is there any other general range etiquette or stuff you think about? You've already talked about, you know, particular clothing, right? And that's just kind of for yourself. Like, don't get brass between your toes and wearing flip-flops. And I wear flip-flops all the time, right?
Yes,
so I have
you
to. Yeah, Bob knows. He saw me yesterday with my tactical Jesus sandals on, right? So with that said, like, is there anything else you can think of?
There's some obvious ones. If this is downrange, then not turning the pistol back toward the range safety officers or anybody who's walking in. Again, we all kind of think, man, people should know that. The end of this thing is really dangerous if you don't do the right thing with it.
Right.
But still, you know, they'll, like, saw one not that long ago, a friend was watching another person shoot, turned around and went, how's that? And pointed the muzzle right at him. One of our range officers had to redirect the muzzle so it stayed downrange. So it's just them not thinking, and, you know, unlike you, they ain't
Just
had
caught up
there.
in the moment, you know? They're just having a good time, everything else, but we still got to be cognizant of everything.
Yeah.
So there was one story, pretty well-known person, right? I think it was at a different range than here, but being loud, right? Like, that's something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. If we're at our indoor range shooting, it's already loud, right?
Yeah.
We don't need people screaming and yelling and doing all this crazy stuff like, you know, you're doing some wazoo John Wick tactical training, you know, and yelling, throw out at the top of your lungs, get them. Like, for me personally, like, that's one of mine. Like, you do you, man. You train how you want to train. But, like, remember, you got a bunch of people next to you. And is that maybe appropriate when you've got maybe the 70-year-old lady learning to shoot her, you know, little Glock 42 for the first time next to you? You know what I mean? So just be cognizant of others. And I think at the end of the day, it's just do the right thing so that we can continue growing this community. Right?
Yeah.
We want people to come here. We don't want them to go, I'm not going there because of how people act, right?
Right.
Because if it happens, it's already happened. Now the range staff can stop that and make sure that never happens again, but it's still going to put a little stain on it, their experience, right? We want
Correct.
people to have a good experience because right now, I mean, it's important. We got to get people out shooting. We got to get them to places like this and start training and doing stuff and having fun with it.
Heck yeah, and one of our biggest clients, newest clients, are the female population.
Yeah.
Like last night, we had a women's gun club. You don't have to sign up to be a member of it. It's just get the ladies in here with female instructors.
Yeah.
And I think last night we had 30 ladies in here learning about that craft and protecting themselves. And you know, most of us, if this is for self-defense, I know I can't whoop everybody. I know it's sometimes I might need this if it gets really bad to protect me and mine. So it's great that the ladies are getting out here and, you know, adding stuff to the toolbox, adding skills that they didn't have maybe before. That's our biggest group of shooters now is the females who walk in the door.
That's good.
Yeah,
we need everybody.
That's a play. Yeah, it really is. So. You know, and one of the things you and I discussed also before was about the cadence of fire. About, you know, some ranges across the nation say, hey man, if you're shooting at this target in our range, we like you to shoot 1 shot per second, not any faster, right? Some places like here, we don't mind you shoot faster because that's what we're practicing for if it's for self-defense or even competitive, right? I mean, I know you shoot faster than 1 second per, so we're shooting 5 or 6 in a second.
Yeah.
So if that's what you need to do for self-defense or competitive reasons, we allow you to do that.
Good.
Within some requirements. So if you're bouncing them off the ceiling, we're going, hey dude, you got to slow that down and hit the target. That's the goal. But if you're putting them in the target, then we let you shoot at the speed you think you need to for your training purposes.
Fair enough. Well, that's a lot of info for people. I think it's time. I think the best thing we can do now is just show people how to train, right? And kind of what we were thinking was, between Bob and I, was we show people at the most basic level, what can you do at a range when they have more strict rules, right? Or more limiting rules, like 1 shot per second, right? Stuff like that. You can't draw from the holster, 1 shot per second. It's very kind of monotonous what you can do.
Right.
So we're going to show a few drills here and go through this with y'all on what we can do. We'll do that, then we'll do some drills where you can actually draw, and then we're going to finish it off. You're going to show some stuff you guys do here at Rural Range with some of your targets.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Cool.